This deal in 1945 guaranteed America would protect the Saudi royal family forever. We began to think there was probably some decent oil reserves in Saudi in the 1930s, and a Texas California oil company called Caltex actually moved to Saudi and began looking for oil, and they began finding oil. So we knew there was something there, and as they kept exploring, they kept finding more and more. In World War II, in a last-ditch desperate attempt to try to turn the tide, the Germans launched an event called the Battle of the Bulge. So it's December 1944. The Germans surrender in May. So it's literally 6 months before they surrender. It's way too late to turn the tide, but that's the cool thing about fanatics. Fanatics don't care about it. They don't look at the data. They just act like maniacs. So here's what the Germans did. They took if you ask the average person on the planet today who won World War II, Germany, United States, or the Soviet Union, I think you'd get three different answers from a large portion of the population, but the majority of people would say United States. It was the Soviet Union in Europe. The United States was a sideshow. The Germans had very few soldiers fighting the United States and France, and then on the Western Front. They had the worst equipment, their worst tanks, their worst artillery pieces. The Germans were fighting the Soviet Union. They had all their best units, all their best tanks fighting the Soviet Union. So they did a little bit of math, and they went, what if we weren't fighting the Soviet Union? Would we be able to defeat the United States and Great Britain? So they grabbed all their best units off the Eastern Front, left just a skeleton force on the Eastern Front, and rushed it to the Western Front, and they attacked through Belgium. And their goal was to get to the English Channel, cut off the British and US forces in the Netherlands, destroy them, and then sue for peace with the United States and Great Britain. And they thought that the United States and Great Britain would accept the German surrender, where Germany would then be allowed to continue to fight the war against the Soviet Union, and maybe even that the United States and Great Britain would join Germany and help them fight the Soviet Union. That's how crazy this went. They attack, and it's like a hot knife through butter. American forces in Belgium are almost completely annihilated. There's an airborne unit in Bastogne that holds its ground and gets surrounded because the Germans just go all the way around it. Everything else disintegrates. The German military is on its way to the English Channel. There is nothing we can do to stop it. It is gonna happen. And then they ran out of gasoline. The Germans had the best tanks in the war at that point. They had Panthers and Tiger IIs. Nothing could stand up to it. The United States had crappy M4 Shermans. They were terrible tanks. And they ran out of gas. Gas tanks, I don't care how good your tank is. If it doesn't have gasoline, it's completely worthless. It's useless. We win the Battle of the Bulge and decide we never want to be that guy. We don't ever want to be in a situation where we're on the verge of possibly winning a battle and we lose it because we ran out of gasoline. So Franklin Delano Roosevelt goes to Egypt. He meets with the King of Saudi Arabia in the Suez Canal in January 1945, like literally the next month. And they make a deal, and the deal is to create Aramco, and the Saudis will agree to trade oil in US dollars. There will be a US airbase in Tehran. Aramco will be a joint Arabian-American oil company. The most important part is that Saudi Arabia promises it will never cut off the supply of oil to the United States. And then in return, the United States will protect the Saudi royal family for all eternity. That's the deal.
What do you think would have happened if Germany had actually won the Battle of the Bulge? How do you imagine history, especially the US-Saudi oil relationship, would have been different? Let me know what you think in the comments.